Hello everybody, how's it going? I am GM Justin. You can find me at all my socials at Forever GM Justin. You can also find me over at Roll D5, where we specialize in playing indie TTRPGs. I've been brought on to play a solo TTRPG. This one is called God Isn't Watching. This is reading through it and just kind of going through just the general concept of it. It can be a pretty dark game. So whenever you're taking a look at this game, or as we're going through a playthrough, just be in mind that this game is a solo journaling and drawing game that follows the story of a 7-year-old homeless child that is trying to survive on the streets and in the shelters while learning and transmitting the secret lore of the cosmic invisible war that is taking place. It is loosely based on the 1997 article Myths Over Miami by Linda Edwards. Just keep in mind that some of the contents that we'll be going over does include gang violence, police brutality, as well as body horror. And then there are also themes of child endangerment, superstition, um, spiritual warfare, paranoia, and psychological distress. So keep that in mind. If any of those things are triggering to you in any way, shape, or form, please keep those in mind. If you want to take breaks or come back to it at a later time, by all means, I encourage you to do so. I will be taking this slowly as we go on through, because this is actually my first real solo TTRPG. I generally like playing with other people, so like sitting down and actually going through a horror game like this, it's going to be interesting. So we'll see how things play out. Now, it has a little bit of an intro, and if you will, bear with me as we go into it. On Christmas Eve, 1996, the gates of heaven swung wide open and a demon army poured out. By Christmas morning, heaven has been ransacked. God went missing. He's no longer watching over us anymore. It's just the angels now fighting a desperate battle out there, an invisible one, all over Earth to protect us and save us from the forces of hell. But they're losing. The devil's got too many friends on his side. He's got Bloody Mary herself leading his troops, and all those rich people downtown. The devil bought them with expensive cars, boats, and cigarettes. They won't hear a thing. They won't hear a thing against him. So it's up to us, says the 11-year-old, who is in mismatched charity clothes, gazing down at his small audience with a haunted intensity of a holy veteran, to help the angels and keep telling the secret stories. With this game, you will need a standard deck of playing cards with all the jokers removed, a small token. So as you can see on the screen, I'm using a a website for the playing cards themselves that has all the jokers removed, as well as Roll 20, which you can see with my little guy over there, to be the representation. He's my little token to represent the current location that I'm at. You will get to see the artistic genius that I am throughout this entire bit. So you're welcome. But yeah, no, but you can also do this IRL with some drawing paper. It does stay like, hey, use something just with a blank piece of paper, whatever have you. So crayons, markers, all that good stuff, anything and everything that you could want or use to draw. It's, use one that use whatever that comes to mind. On top of that, it also has 9 knives, so they do recommend using dull butter knives or dispensable plastic knives for safety reasons. I will figure out a token for those as we go on through, so we'll figure it out. We'll get there. No worries, it's not a big deal. And next for the setup, we'll be answering the following questions, and we'll fill things out in the corresponding spaces of the children's catechism sheet. Do have it listed out. So, the first question that we're going to get asked, I'm actually going to grab a pen and a notepad. And the first question is going to be, "What month were you born?" Choose a birth month earlier in the year if you want something that's going to be a little bit shorter, or if it's later in the year for something longer and a more challenging game. So we're gonna choose something, earlier on in this year. So we're gonna go with, let's say February for no reason in particular. So that is going to be February. Cool. What is your most treasured keepsake? It must fit inside of a plastic a sandwich bag. I think for the kid that that I'll be playing today, I think it's with everything that is going on. I believe that he's probably going to be um the new Jurassic World Evolution game came out, so I'm gonna just say a little tiny plastic Tyrannosaurus Rex is going to be his little keepsake. So tiny T Rex. What is one aspect of your physical appearance that adults compliment you on? What is one aspect that other kids make fun of you for? So I think the one aspect that my character will have is probably having different colored eyes. I think he'll have like one that is brown, one that is green, and I think in that same token, that is probably what he gets made fun of for. Um, and then what is the name that is on your official birth certificate, and what is the name other kids call you? So, put that down for brown slash green eyes, and then hmm, I think what we'll go with is for his official name. I have a bit here. If you've ever watched any of my TTRPGs, any of the characters that I run, or any of the NPCs that I have, they always end with the last name Ramos, and it's more just like that's a name that I picked. There is some family history with for me with regards to that last name, but it's not my last name. It is just a name that I've just been throwing in on a lot of different characters. So um, we'll call him Juan Diego Ramos. That is going to be on his official birth certificate, and I think for the nickname that it's going to be Johnny, and I say that because my the first two names happen to be the names of one of my uncles that I had looked up to growing up. So to do a little to use that name just kind of reminds me of him, and then because that um, it was easy to call him refer to him as Johnny, so I think we'll stick with that as part of this game. So that will be what the kids will refer to my character as. And it explains as well that you'll remove the aces, the jacks, the queens, and the kings from the deck and set them to the side. So as you can see on my screen, I have both decks. The one on the left is going to be, I think, the one that we'll be primarily shuffling and playing with. And then the deck on the right has all of the aces, jacks, kings, and queens. And the 16 cards, they will become the birthday deck, and then we'll shuffle the rest of the cards and deal them face down on a 5x5 grid with enough space between them to fit the length of a knife. These cards represent city blocks, and the grid is called the city map. So, oop, let's see what that does. Okay, cool. I'm gonna actually hit that. All right, cool. And then it says shuffle. What is it? With enough. Okay, put them in a 5x5 square. Let's see if I can do something. If I can do this real quick. Make sure that with this one, they will stay face down, and we'll kind of go from there. But we'll pull them over so it's by 5x5 grid. All right, cool. So we have that set up. The remaining 11 cards will become the streets deck, and then those will remain right there. Now, as far as the playthrough, the game is moved by moving your token on the city map to reveal the cards and explore their associated prompts, filling in the catechism sheet with what you learn, and writing a total of up to 6 drawings, and making what is it and making a total of up to 6 drawings of your experiences. The children's catechism sheet represents who you are and what you know. You can use a sheet or make your own by recording this information on a separate document. I do have what I have in front of me, so I'll be using that. You may also hear some typing here and there as I document stuff. So there are marks and wounds that tracks how much spiritual and physical harm your character experiences respectively. If you ever reach 7 marks, the game ends with the cursed ending. If you ever reach a number of wounds equal to or greater than your current age, the game ends with the martyred ending. And the calendar tracks how many months you experience in the game. Children of Heaven begins on New Year's Day 1997, and unless you encounter a different ending first, will conclude when you turn 12 with the relentless ending. The catechism sheet has space for you to record the knowledge that you have gained about the entities engaged in the invisible wars. So yeah, um, this is going to be really interesting. The city map and movement. So you may move your token in a single step from one card to another immediately adjacent to any immediate adjacent card. No diagonal. So it sounds like it's just what is it? You're not going diagonally. It's okay. Cool. If the card to which you move your token is face down, turn that card face up and read the associated prompt. If the card to which you move your token is already face up, do not repeat the prompt associated with that card. Instead, draw a card from the streets deck, lay it down on top of the old card, and follow the prompt for the new card. All right. Each time you move your token from one card to another, 1 month elapses. Be sure to keep track of the time on the calendar. Now, the knives represents an outbreak of violence. You may be required to place a token on the city map adjacent to the cards you have revealed to represent streets that become unsafe to cross. So this will be a little bit interesting, but I think what is it? Given the fact that it is a 5 by 5, it shouldn't be too hard to be able to draw those out. Especially considering we have the lines and everything like that. So we already know that if it's a 5 by 5 grid, based off of what we have right here, we'll make it work. If you may be required to place a knife on the city map adjacent to the card that you have revealed to represent that streets have become unsafe to cross. You must move through a knife. If you must move through a knife when moving from one card to another, you automatically take 1 wound. Ooh, that's going to be interesting. I'm. This is okay. Knives may not be placed around the outside edges of the city map. They must always be placed between 2 cards. Knives may not overlap each other depending on the length of the knife you're using. They may block passages through multiple streets. In the unlikely event that you run out of knives to place, you may move one knife from anywhere else on the map to the required location. Now, you will gain secret knowledge. Some cards inform you of secret street lore, which always comes from with mechanical effects. Once you gain the secret knowledge and learn about these rules, their associated effects will take hold going forward. I'll write those down you can write them down either on the catechism sheet or wherever you're documenting everything at. Some cards allow you to make claims to unilaterally declare a statement to be true about the specified entities and ideas, allowing you to carve out some exceptions to the rules laid down by the secret street lore. If you make these claims with enough conviction and enough other kids accept them, they will become magically true. But be careful about how much you try to change with a claim. The invisible world operates in on fear and faith in ways that are what is it are the characters that we're representing don't understand or can't fully understand. And harmful and terrifying ideas are very easy to believe in. Even a child who puts up a front of bravado in front of peers about the existence or power of something baneful will likely find it much harder to be properly skeptical when the supernatural actually touches their lives. Conversely, the idea of safety in the midst of turmoil is hard for the children around you to put their faith in, especially when presented with a claim that seems too conveniently helpful. So, I guess it's just finding a balance between um, how much of the change that you're making with those claims. And it even states in here that there are no hard guidelines for the limits of the claim. Just keep in mind that whatever that whether you think you can convincingly justify your assertions to the kids in the situation. Okay. When you reach your birth month each year, read the corresponding birthday page for the new age and follow its instructions rather than flipping a card. In general, on each birthday, you will draw a picture depicting some of the notable occurrences from the past year. This may be a self portrait, this may be a series of comic panels. I will try and keep this as easy as I can because I'm not using my tablet and I'm using a mouse. So drawing that is going to be very interesting. But we'll see what we can make happen. Worst case, we'll throw an icon in there and it'll be all right. And whenever you're ready to play, take that and we will draw. So it says take a piece of paper and draw a picture of yourself in your favorite clothing. In this case, I'm going to be substituting that for my little token guy right here. When you are satisfied with your drawing, place it on any number of the cards on the grid and uncover what January has in store for you. So there's my little guy. Obviously, I'm not going to do that on here, but I will go ahead and I have five, so I'm going to 5 by 5. Let's make this interesting. How about well? I think what I'll do is we're gonna start off right here, bottom left corner, and we get the 4 of diamonds. Now, 4 of diamonds. Place your token on any of the cards on the grid and uncover what January 1997 has in store for you. Let's see. You stumble into God. You stumble into a street fight where 5 or 6 people are swinging knives at each other. You turn and run, but not before you catch a long, shallow slice across your side. It doesn't bleed a lot, but it takes a long time to heal, and for months you wake up to the feeling of feverish scratching under your skin. Lay a knife between the card adjacent to one of the sides of this card, and I'll take a wound. Oh boy, starting off strong with a wound. And I'll take one of those. So, all right, 1 wound. I'm currently, what is it? It's 97. I Let's see if we can make it through this year without getting 8 wounds. So, but with that, I will go ahead and I'll draw the first knife. Do that, and here we go. So there we go. We're gonna click our little guy, bring him, put him right here, roughly where I think where that first card is going to be. Ah, great start. Great start. It's fine. It's fine. We will figure we'll figure it out. Okay, so that is going to be January then. So January, we have done the thing. So now it is going back up here. We've done that. Um, I'm taking that as I can't move across the street right now. And each time you move your token. So I think what I'll do next, since I did that, is I'm going to continue going up this same row. And I think that's the way that I understand it because I can't go diagonal. So I can't go this way. I have to go this way or this way. I'm not crossing the street. Can't. So we're gonna see what this one does. It's gonna be Oh, and it's my birth month because we're going into February. So I actually don't even do that. All right. So I turned 8. It's my birth month. On your birthday, the older children in the shelter solemnly initiate you into the mysteries of the secret street lore. You heard bits and pieces before now, of course, but they start you in the beginning. Heaven is destroyed and hell is a war camp. Neither is taking in human souls anymore. So the spirits of the dead walk among you, wandering the streets, trying to find somewhere they can go. They can see more than the living can, but they have much less power to act and affect anything. They show themselves to their loved ones sometimes wearing their favorite clothes from when they were alive to pass on messages or deliver warnings. Um, don't tell the adults about any of this. The children warn you, or even the older kids, the teenagers. They don't believe us. You'll just get in trouble. But everything we said is true. You'll see. You grow a little stronger and a little sturdier. Remember that now you go to the martyr. Okay, that's what. Okay, that makes sense though. Why they said this would be a little bit faster, because it says when you remember that you now go to the martyred ending after you bear a total of 8 wounds. I've only got the one, but if I had chosen like, oh, let's say December, then the possibility is like my game would end right there. I'd reach my 8th birthday and then boom, martyred ending. Let's go. So wild. Okay, cool. Now draw a picture of whatever seems important to draw from your experiences so far. Yeah, no, we're just gonna go ahead and just do a real quick the make sure I do the freehand real quick, and I'm just gonna go ahead and just do like a quick stitch, and then we'll do a little bit of a, not that, but it's more like, see what this looks like, see if I can do that. And this is just to be like, nope, undo that, grab this right here and delete that. And this is just to signify the wound my little guy had taken because of what had transpired literally the month before. So I think the stitches for his wound is, like, I know what the description of it was, shallowed, but still think just as a way, like, probably would have gotten stitched up in some way, shape, or form just to make sure that it healed right. Um, Draw a picture of that, then remove all knives from the city map. Remove any cards that were turned sideways and place them into the disc. Okay, cool. Cards can turn sideways. That's going to mean something later, I'm sure. And just put them into a discard pile. Gather up the rest of the cards on the city map. Shuffle them into the street. Okay. Remove any cards that are turned sideways and place them into the discard pile. Got it. Gather up the rest of the cards and shuffle them into the streets deck. In addition, shuffle the jacks of each suit from the birthday deck into the streets deck, and then use the streets deck to lay out the city map again as the five. Okay, cool. Oh, all right. So none of them are turned sideways. The rest of them are going to get recalled back here, and then this has turned into a bit of a wild game off the rip. Cool that we got to one, we got to see January, and then because I made February my birth month for this one, we got to see what that looks like as we turn into that. So I'm here for it. It's just, again, it wild that it was even the thing that like happened off the rip. So yeah, we'll lay out the 5x5. So we have no more knives. We have a whole new stack. We're gonna click this. That goes bye bye. And now we have that. When you're ready to resume, place your token on any number. So we're gonna go ahead and move him over to. No, we're gonna start in the middle. Fuck it. So I got 6 of diamonds. A shiny, expensive-looking car pulls up beside you while you're walking to school. You can't see inside because all of the windows are darkened, but it slowly rolls down along slowly rolls along to match your pace. You break into a run, but it's impossible to outrun a car. How do you finally get away? I think okay, so it's hard out there, especially like if you're just going to school and you're just like not being bothered. I just imagine Johnny just as he realized it probably kind of slow down just a little bit because if this car is matching pace, then it's going to slow down and maybe even just attempt to, once Johnny slows down enough, try and roll down their window. So at that, as soon as the window rolls down just a little bit, is when he bolts off and is probably looking for a street corner to go, not a street corner, but an alleyway to cut on through. And depending on how narrow it is, even if a car is able to go through, the street alleys, at least in my head, with certain streets, with certain cities are going to have stuff inside of it. So I think using the trash cans, using whatever dumpsters that may be in there, it allows Johnny to be able to like get behind and just continue running until he's able to maneuver out of the way and until he can find a spot to hide himself in, even if the car continued to give suit, if it just did not, I imagine because it's an expensive looking car, whoever this is not going to risk damaging it. Or maybe they do. But even if they do, that's still obstacles that they have to worry about. And a lot of cars don't have, what is it? They're going to get wrecked as soon as they hit something that puts up any sort of resistance on it. So knowing that, I think that as he doesn't really need to go far. I think a couple alleyways and he hides behind a dumpster or two, just so that way, for his own sake of mind, he'll probably wait behind and make sure that the other car does not follow or find him before he continues on to school. He's going to be terrified, of course, but he won't forget what that looks like. And I'm imagining for poops and giggles, this is going to be a very stand like this car is going to be I'm picturing a blue. This is going to be a blue Mercedes that that is a little bit on the darker end, um, with very nice rims, very nice wheels. This thing exudes the fact like this is owned by somebody with a lot of money. So committing a car like this to memory for Johnny is not going to be hard for him. I'm sure there's a lot of things that's like he's got to worry about, but this one in particular after this is something that he's always going to remember. And with that, I will go ahead and move over to the next one. We'll go Four of Hearts. Okay, so we are moved from February. So we did February. Now we did March. We're in April. Your treasured keepsake goes missing one day. Starting at the spot where you always kept it safe, the idea enters your mind that somebody at the shelter has stolen it, and an unstoppable tide of anger and hatred rises within you. Who do you accuse of the theft? Where do you eventually find the keepsake and what condition is it in? I think because of everything that has gone on so far, like it's not hard to just assume the worst. Even at that age, I can assume that it is probably some kid that has probably picked on him because of his different colored eyes, and they get into a scuffle, and the kid's probably just a little bit bigger than Johnny, and so even though the kid may be bigger, Johnny's just not stopping whatsoever to is not stopping whatsoever. He is dead set on thinking that this kid is the one that took it. So even after like they've been separated, adults have stepped in and Johnny is angry, he's beaten up. I think it is probably a friend of his, and we'll call this friend Kelly. And she will probably come up to him and let him know she found it. And it was probably because he had dropped it somewhere. And he thought he left it and he put it back into its location where he generally keeps it safe. But with everything that we had seen from the previous month, it's it happened, and she found it, but Johnny got angry and allowed that to get the better of him. So luckily, it's in good condition, and she happened to have found it probably like somewhere within the shelter, and was able to get it back to him later on that day after everything probably cooled on down. But I think after that fight, it probably makes Johnny feel bad that he allowed himself to feel the like that those big feelings to come up. But he thanks her and is happy to have his keepsake back. Move over into we'll move over into May. We'll go into May. We'll go to the one next to that. And we are now over in the Nine of Hearts. You jolt awake to the sound of alarm, clanging fire alarms. One of the older teens grabs your arm and tells you not to leave the shelter. That this could be a tactic the gangs use to grab kids and run off with them. Do you believe them? And do you step outside? I think at first Johnny goes and is like his little Tyrannosaurus Rex and grabs it and takes off and is about to head outside. And that's where he's like yoinked into like a closet and is told by this older kid of like, hey, this is what's going on. This is something that can happen. Maybe he says there's no fire. Maybe there's nothing going on. And but because of everything that's happening, it's probably in the because it's in I assume this is in the middle of the night. It wouldn't be hard for something like that to happen. And so I think because of those little factors, because Johnny's in there, he's just going to stay. This older person, this teenager's what is it? Kept him in here, and probably one of the few kids that he manages to save. So Johnny stays in there with him, and waits for everything to come on out. And we'll move into the next month. Let's go. Let's continue down that path, and we're at the Three of Spades. This is such an interesting start so far. I'm here for it. So now we're at the Three of Spades. You stumble into a street fight where two people have drawn knives and are circling each other, surrounded by jeering peers. You nervously skirt the intersection and run until you're unsure no one has followed you. Lay down a knife between cards adjacent to one of the sides of this card. So we already did it, long ways. So let's go the other way. There we go. And we're going this way. Yeah. So we're going to go vertical horizontal for this one. And that is now a street corner. That's now a street that Johnny's not going to be going through. And damn it, what is it? I still take a wound from that. So I'm now at 2 wounds, and we'll see where things go. So not crossing that street. I'm now heading south because why not? We're now at 9 of okay, cool. We're staying in the spades and we're going to 9. You turn a corner and flatten yourself against a wall when you see a large man pelting wildly down the street towards you. He looks over his shoulder and shoots at something. A dark car with an even darker window glints past. One window rolls down just a bit and two shots ring out. The runner falls heavily into you, unmoving. You feel one of your ribs crack as the car disappears down the road. Oh god. Okay. Ow. First of all, we're just gonna say that now. But so we're taking 2 wounds out of that one, folks. Jesus Christ. Poor Johnny. I'm sorry, Papa. This is not looking too good, fam. Sorry. I'm so sorry. But also, yeah, no, I'm sorry, guy. We're just gonna grab him and move him over here because it's generally where that would be. So got it. Can't go down this way. Uh I I'm now at 4 wounds. Yeah, 4 wounds from that. So vertical, horizontal, can't cross. I'm just going to continue going. You know what? Nope. I'm going to go crossover, and I got my first. I got a jack. Assert a claim about spirits. Record this claim on the thing. So again, when we're doing, when we're making claims, some cards specify some specified cards will allow you to make claims to unilaterally declare a statement to be true about specified entities and deity and ideas, allowing you to carve out exemptions to the rules laid down by the secret street lore. If you make this claim with enough conviction and enough children accept it, then that will happen. So I can make a claim. This one's about spirits, and it's the whole be careful how you want to change. I think the claim that I'm going to make now, and we'll see how this bites me in the rear end because, generally this stuff happens, right? I think what we know about the spirits so far in that, like, hey, they know a lot more, they see a lot more. The claim that I'm going to make is that spirits give you a heads up. If they are seen, they give you a heads up and a warning of danger to avoid taking wounds. So, spirit seen, avoid taking wounds. That's the claim that I'm making. We'll see how this is going to turn out. I'm curious. This is doesn't say what I can't do. Just says be careful about how you do it. So that's the claim I'm making right now. Spirits help and help in avoiding wounds. We'll see where this goes. But all right, so now we're into July. I'm not crossing streets right now because I'm still going down this. Well, I'm not crossing down. I'm not going to the right of my board. I can, we'll go back up. No, because I want to see where this goes. I have 2 cards heading down before I have 2 cards heading down before I have to cross the street. The other one is I have a card going up, and I'd have to cross a street with a knife. So we'll continue on down, and that's okay. Let's see what this does. Nope, that's not the one I wanted. Okay, cool. So this one is a claim about her. This is a Jack of Spades, and then a claim about her. And I've not been given too much lore about her. That's the interesting thing. So who is she? What do we know about her? So unless somebody comes out and says, like, I'm going to say we've already talked a little bit about some of the things that about some of the things we know, but I don't believe we've seen anything in relation to who she is. So who is she? I think she is I think this speaks more about like who I am as a person, where I'm a little bit more hopeful with things, and where my claim is that she's the one that's watching over us. She's the older woman. If you've watched what was it, Home Alone? I think it's Home Alone 1 or Home Alone 2, with the lady in the park with like the pigeons and everything, the one that's just always like helping him out. That's who I envision as like always around when he needs her. She's the one adult that just seems to check in on all the kids that he's seen. She's the caretaker to him in some way. She may not necessarily does. I don't think she works there, but I think that when he's going to school, when he's doing stuff, Johnny and the other kids have talked about seeing her and just feeling better after talking with her. So she is a caregiver. Now we're moving into August. Okay, cool. So this is a Jack of Clubs, and let's see what it says. The Angels. I think now we're gonna switch it again here. So with the Angels, right? I think that they are they're getting tired, and so I think in some ways that the angels that we see are I think the angels have their own agenda. since God is no longer here, God is no longer watching. They are trying to figure out how they can assert their own control over everything. And I'm thinking like supernatural where they're what is it? They're trying to like if I remember correctly, if any supernatural fans out there don't come at me because I don't remember all not mistaken, there was a point where like it seemed like there was a heavenly war going on, and like certain angels were trying to take control over heaven themselves. So I want to say that something along those same lines. If that wasn't a thing, then we're making it a thing here. But I think that the angels themselves are now starting to not only trying to fight back against, still continue on with their original task of trying to fight back hell and get everything under control, but also establish themselves as rulers, then maybe of our world, or just keep it into heaven. Maybe this is where also there's another schism that happens between the angels, and that some of them are wanting to keep, just take control over heaven and oversee things, continue to see things up there, with some of them being like wanting to exert, control over what's going on earth too. So I think that's where we're going to go. Control with schism of staying in heaven versus taking over. All right. Now the knives again, because I'm at a spot where I know that I don't think I can. What is it? No, actually, each time you move, you may move your things adjacent if you happen to move to which your token is face. If a card to which you move your token is face down, turn that card up and read that. If the card you do is already face up, you know what? Johnny's gone through so much. I'm gonna go ahead and draw a street card, and I'm gonna head back up. So we'll take this and we'll move this guy right here, and it's gonna be a 5 of hearts. Sometimes when you walk back to the shelter from school in the afternoon, you meet the older teenagers heading out to their jobs, mopping floors or washing dishes. They come back past midnight with an armful of clinking bottles, which they stash in an abandoned fridge in the basement of the shelter. You try and take a peek into the fridge, and if so, what do you find? I think that the curiosity is going to get the better of him. I think that the shelter is a place that is mostly safe. So if they're storing it down there, they're storing it down for a purpose, right? Like someone has to know that they're storing it down there. And so I think when he heads down and he goes to take a look, I think he bottles of probably finds bottles of alcohol that they're probably that they found. And he's like not sure about it, probably takes a sniff and is like, "What the hell is this? This is gross. This smells gross," and then just walks away and is like, "I'm not telling nobody I saw anything. This is disgusting." So I think that's what he finds. I don't think it's anything more than that. It's hard out there, and it sucks, but I it's that's probably something that I imagine like that they have. But like I said, he probably smells it. It's like, ugh, gross. Walks away. See nothing. Now we're gonna go ahead and continue back up. We'll do that one, and we're still staying within the hearts. So 7 of hearts. A sudden influx of new residents at the shelter means dozens of new cots in the children's sleeping area, crowded elbow to elbow. You hear one of the new kids mumbling a lullaby of to sleep at night in a language you don't understand. What does that tune remind you of? We'll go a little bit hauntingly, and it's probably a language that it's probably an indigenous language from somewhere down in Mexico, and it may it the way that it's tuned, it to him reminds him of the song La Llorona, in at least like the melody of it. The words are sounding are different, but the tune just sounds very hauntingly like it. And so there are various different renditions of it with the lyrics, but all of it's still the same, talking about the story of La Llorona. And it was a fun kid story that was told that helped scare people. So maybe it just brings back a time where like he was telling before all this happened, he was telling cousins that were slightly younger than him that La Llorona is going to get you. And yeah, I think that's what the language is. I think that's what it reminds him of. We'll head down to the next one. So now what is it? Actually, that was August and then September, and then we're in October now, and that's a Jack of Diamonds. Assert a claim about demons. Okay, so this one's going to be a little bit easier. So I'm going to say for him that he's associating all of the anger, all of the as relating to the demons. Like you're going like for his for the claim that we're making here is that the sign that demons are around are when people get angry or every time that he stumbles upon a fight. It's like for him that's where the demons are. Even if he's not able to see them, he that's the claim that he makes, is that demons are the sign of a demon is when adults and people get angry and get mad. So that's where we are with that. Yeah. Now we're gonna take a one from this one because we are crossing a street and we're there. And then we're gonna go here as we are at the Four of Clubs. A demon found a gateway out of hell on the street with all the car dealerships, says a young boy with a fearful look over his shoulders. The devil went and made deals to rent new cars from them all. Now the demons are sneaking into the city, hiding in cars with dark windows when they drive wherever they need to go. Going forward, whenever you encounter a mention of cars with okay, well that's lore we're gonna keep right there. Cars with dark windows. Take one mark. Turn this card sideways as a reminder not to return to it, not to return it to the streets deck during your next birthday. Okay, got it. New lore dropped. Bet that is it. Sideways, discard. Okay, cool. And that is the Four of Clubs. Uh, and if I'm not mistaken, nope, actually, I'm good. We're gonna go Three of Hearts. You were assigned a new cot that's unbearably itchy. You try to bear it patiently, but even when you lie perfectly still, it feels like something is scratching at your very bones. Sometimes you wake to find you've scratched yourself bloody. What do you do to try and ease your torment? I think with the new cot, I think whatever padding, whatever blankets he had before, I think he's putting more and more of that under it to help him get to sleep, even so far as like stealing pillows, stealing other little blankets here and there, whatever he can find, or if he can get a little bit of cash, try and get more blankets. He's trying to get himself, because the way that I read that it's unbearably itchy. So all of the stuff that is causing him to itch, probably something there that he's like trying to put under. He's trying to put some space in between him and the cot itself. So I think that's what he does to ease himself, to ease that issue that he's has. Right, moving over to Three of Clubs. Demons are always looking for a way out of hell, says a girl around your age in a fearful whisper, and so is she. They're looking for cracks in the world they can slip through. Fake mirrors are one of their favorites. They make the other side of the mirror look like the world as much as they can. Then when you look in, they steal your reflection and jump out. Going forward, whenever you encounter a mention of mirrors that do not reflect reality, take one mark. Turn this sideways. Okay, cool. All right, mirrors that do not reflect reality. See, sideways, discard. That's Three Clubs. Okay. And then we take 1 mark. And I think that was the same too. Yeah. Yep. 1 mark. All right. So going down. And what is it? We are in October, November. Now we're in November. Bet. So 7 of diamonds. As you watch the well-dressed children your age filling through the gates into the city's private school, all red bricks and neat paths and imported trees, a cold brickling wind of envy and rage washes over you, and you start making a wild run for the gate. What ultimately prevents you from entering? I think as he tries to go over there, I think because this is a private school, there are probably security guards that are well in place to do it. So when he tries to do when he tries to do everything that he can to get through, ultimately you see like a bunch of security guards come in and just block him and essentially kick him off the premise despite what he tries to do. You know the rich are not going to let their kids be exposed to this as best they can, so that's what stops him from entering, and he's left a little bruised, a little bit battered, but yeah. Next, we're into December, and we're going to 2 of spades. You stumble into a street fight where a small group of people are hurling insults and rocks at each other. You skirt the intersection and avoid a stray rock or two and run until no one is following you. Oh boy. Okay. Well, that's fun. Got it. Cool. Now I'm blocked myself off to where I am going to we'll click that right there. Yep. Okay, cool. And I now am going to have to cross over and take a wound. So that's another one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Ah, and we're now over at a 10 of diamonds. You stumble into an eerily quiet, empty intersection, and you're halfway across the road when the police lights flare to life, their sirens ringing loudly enough to deafen you, and you almost don't hear the gunshots that start peppering the air. For a horrible moment, there is nothing but confusion, and you don't know how many people there are who's shooting. Your instincts scream to you to get out, but you can't tell which direction promises safety. Mm, mm, Chat not doing too hot with this one. Um, you don't know how you managed to return to the shelter, but you're tracking bloody footprints by the time you arrive. And we'll just go ahead and bring this down to here. And I take 3 wounds. 1, 2, and 3. Now, remember how I said about mentioned before about wounds and stuff like that, what happens as things go on. So let's head back up real quick and make sure that we're on the same page. So wounds and marks are tracked, spiritual and physical damage. If you ever reach 7 marks, the game ends. If you ever reach a number of wounds equal to or greater than your current age, the game ends with the martyred ending. And if you weren't paying attention at home, or if you were kept paying attention at home, that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, which means I went. That one hurt a lot. So we are now going to head over to the martyred ending. Before I got to my next birthday, the light takes a long time to leave your vision. You wonder whether you'll be strong enough to appear before anyone's disbelieving eyes. You wonder whether anyone cherished you enough to be able to see you. You wonder whether you'll manage to join the war or whether the same streets you've known all your life, in the outfit you loved the most, seeing all that's rotten about the city, powerless to do anything about it. It wouldn't be a big change, would it? And now we will carefully pick up all the knives, gather up and put away all the cards, and draw a self portrait and find the self portraits you drew at the beginning of the game and draw a gravestone underneath it. Rip. Oh no. I'm so sorry, buddy. Oh man. That's That's an intense. This is an intense game, to be very frank. Like, just definitely one that I will say that if you aren't prepared for it, um, definitely make sure as a player, as a person, that you take care of yourself, because that, like I said, a lot of this involves like being at a very young age, and then to go through all of that and to try and experience that can be very traumatizing. So make sure that you take the time that you need for a game like this. I I like the concept of it, and this has been interesting to say the least. So, if you decide that you want to play this, great. This is, like I said, definitely a brutal game. At least not necessarily like a brutal game, but it does show like a harsh reality, because I thought like I'd be able to make it to the next birthday, be fine, and be able to go a little bit further than that. But then like when I got hit with the three wounds, I'm like, oh no, no. But this was a pretty fun game. This is a pretty interesting game, to say the least. I think, even what is it? Even if you were to like take this and make it to where like you're a little bit older, and make it to where it's something, the concept anyway is make it to where it was like something you're more comfortable with. If you're not comfortable with child endangerment, or playing, you know, dealing with stuff of that nature, I think this game has enough to where you can do something like that, and it would still hold pretty true. The ideas and everything would be a little bit more interesting to see play out, especially like going from like what a life looks like as a 7 to 8 year old, to what it would look like as an 18, 19, 20 year old going through these same things. I think you'd face a lot more danger in that regard. But this was not a bad game. This was definitely more of a tragic game, to say the least. So this again was Children of Heaven by Kaiya J, and I am very thankful that this is, like I said, this was a wild game. This was a tragic game, and I love my tragic games just as much as I love my horror games. So thank you for tuning in. Thank you for hanging out as we go through this game. I am GM Justin. You can find me on all my socials at Forever GM Justin. You can also find me over at Roll D5, where we specialize in playing indie TTRPGs. And as always, thank you all again so much. It's been an honor and a privilege, and I hope you guys have a good one. Take care. Bye.